Hey everyone, welcome to Sequence of Instructions. Thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be learning about two functions in JavaScript. One is timeout, if I could spell it correctly, and the other is interval. Timeout and interval, these are two functions that the JavaScript environment gives you that let you control sort of the speed and timing of your code. So let's just jump right into it. Before I do, actually, you might hear some noises in the background. I got a 3D printer running and it's taking a little bit longer than I thought, so I apologize if it gets in the way, but hopefully it doesn't. Alright, back to this. Let's just jump right in. I'm going to console.log start, and I'm going to console.log finish. And in most cases, function. In most cases, our program runs linearly, like we said before, top to bottom, and if we have any functions, we know that we can go back up to that spot, right? So start, finish, then function's going to run and print this console.log function. We know that we can return to previous sections of the code, but they all happen more or less instantly, or they appear to happen instantly to us, right? This happens, computers run extremely quickly. They can execute these lines of code so fast that for humans, it looks basically instantaneous. Start, finish, function, out of order, yes, but basically happening all at once. So it would be nice if there was some way we can control the speed of our execution. And there's many reasons to do this. We'll talk about a few of them in a little bit, but one of them is with this timeout. One of the ways to do it is with timeout. And the way timeout works is you call this function setTimeout. This is a function given to us by the JavaScript environment. And it takes two parameters. The first is the function you want to do, and the second parameter is when do you want to do it? How long do you want to wait before we do it? All right? So this first parameter, I want to be foo, and we'll say I want to wait 1 second. This second parameter, the value must be in milliseconds. So 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second, with a millisecond being 1/1000th of a second. So I want to say, rather than just calling foo down here, I want to timeout, run foo after 1 full second. Okay? And now we'll see start, finish, 1 second later, it runs function. So just go over that again. I log start, I create a function foo, I log finish, and then I say wait a second and then run foo. And so it logs start, it logs finish, 1 second later it logs function, which is what our foo does. Now the reason I put finish there is because you'll see that even if I run it before, well, you might have the question, is it going to just wait here until the full second's up, or is it going to continue on? And the answer is it's going to continue on. So when you say set timeout, if there's more work for JavaScript to do, top to bottom, it's going to do it. It's going to say, all right, I'll make a note to myself, I'll set an alarm for myself that in 1 second I have to do something, but until the alarm goes off, there's more work to be done. It's going to carry on executing code. Then, when that 1,000 milliseconds are up, it's going to stop whatever it's doing if it can. If it completes its thread of execution, it's going to stop what it's doing. It's going to return, run your foo function, console.log foo. Once this scope terminates, it's going to pick up right where it left off. Now that's hard for me to demonstrate because it's hard to know how long every execution takes, so I can't really demonstrate this for you. But just trust me, that's how it works. That when you run it, it does start, it makes a note to itself, okay, I'm going to set an alarm in a second, carry on, and then whenever it can be interrupted, it'll go back after that 1,000 seconds. Sometimes it's a little after 1,000, sometimes it's 1,010 milliseconds, 1,020, but it will wait at least 1,000 milliseconds and then run whatever you did. Likewise, if I made this 5,000 milliseconds, this might be a little boring, but you can guess it'll wait 5 full seconds before printing function. There it is. And that's basically how it works. A use case for this, I said I'd talk about a few of them. One good use case for this is, let's say you have a form that the user has to put in some information into, and you want to say after, I don't know, 30 seconds, so this is 30,000 milliseconds. After 30 seconds, check if they're still there. If they haven't input anything, check if they're still there, right? And so now your foo can be like, all right, well, did they input something? Whatever. prompt, are you still there? Something like that to get their attention if they haven't input something, right? So this is a use case. We'll just see it work. Let's not wait 30 seconds. Let's just wait 3 seconds. All right. So I run. I'm thinking about putting things in. I don't know. 3 seconds go by, and oh, it hasn't. Come on, JS bin, wake up, catch up with me. I'm on a new thing now. Let's see. There it is. Are you still there? Yes. Okay. Right. So that's a potential use case for it. The next thing you may ask, the next logical question might be, well, what if I say, okay, wait for 3 seconds, but in that time, they do come back, they start typing. I wouldn't want to prompt. I wouldn't want to be like, hey, are you still there? I know they're still there. I know they're typing, right? How can I cancel this timeout? If I don't want it to run, if I decide things have changed between now and when it was supposed to run, how can I prevent it from running? Right? Let's say you wake up before your alarm goes off. You're not just going to wait for your alarm. You're going to shut your alarm off, right? You don't want to wait the 5 minutes before it goes off. You just want to disable it. So there is a way to disable this. Set timeout is a function, and all functions return some value. If you don't specify it, it's going to return undefined, but it will always return something. So let's see what it's returning. I'm going to get rid of this finish. I don't think we need it anymore. So let's see, what are we returning when we call set timeout? Number 1, that's pretty weird. Okay, let's also stop that prompting because that's annoying. We'll just have it print here. Alright. Well, what if I do it again? So we saw it was 1. Let's see if I do it again. Maybe I'll do it a few times. And each time after I do it, I'll print the value. Alright, so we're going to call set timeout 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And we're going to print the value each time. Look at that. So after 3 seconds, we see a bunch of here's. Okay, this is expected behavior. But you'll notice that the value it's returning is going up each time. This is an identifier, some way for you to reference back to the set timeout call that you made to the JavaScript interpreter. So you say set timeout, the interpreter goes, all right, I'll set a timeout. If you want to do anything with this timeout later, here's a value I'll give you that you can reference this timeout. Okay? And so what you can do is there's another function called clear timeout. And what you pass to clear timeout is you're going to pass a number. And this number is going to correspond to the ID given to you when you called set timeout. Right? So let's just do this just once. We don't need it a bunch of times. Right. Well, maybe we'll do it twice. Alright, so I'm going to set timeout. It's going to say here, or it's going to wait 1 second. I'm going to set another timeout immediately after. That's going to wait 2 seconds. And I'm going to clear the first one. So we should only see here print after 1 second and not after 2. Oh my gosh, JSBin, you need to get your stuff together here. Good lord. Saved. It says it's saved. Do I believe it? I don't believe it. Man, I wish there was some way that I could just tell JSBin that I've updated it and it should refresh and recompile or whatever it needs to do. There it is. Okay, so again, first one is created. Then we create a second one. We're going to clear the first one right away. So this here will only come after 2 seconds. Let's run it again. 1, 2. There it is. So you'll see that by calling clear timeout, we stop the first one from running. We can also stop the second one from running. And now we'll see nothing print after 1, 2. They've both been cleared. We've turned off the alarm before it could ring, and it therefore doesn't ring. Alright, so that's timeout. Interval, I wanted to explain timeout in full first because I think it'll make interval a lot clearer. Interval is a timeout that runs repeatedly. So let me get rid of this. Let's get rid of all of this. If I said set interval foo, alright, rather than running just once, this is going to run, wait a full second, and then run every second. So it's going to run it, and then run it, and as if you called set timeout again. Right? So waits a second, prints here, waits another second, prints here, waits another second, prints here, and this is going to go on forever until my program is terminated. Why would you want to do this? Well, maybe you have a clock counting, right? Like I have some countdown until there's some big launch or some party's happening in 30 seconds or whatever, I can have equals 30. I can console out log seconds, and after each time I can say seconds minus minus, which is seconds minus 1. And you'll see now there's the start: 30, 29, 28, 27. So I make this count down. You can also count up, right? You can do whatever you want in this interval. This is just an example of how you can use it. And again, how do I make it stop? Well, I call clear interval. So here I'm going to make a timeout that's going to wait 5 seconds, and then it's going to clear interval the value of the interval. Alright, so just to run through this, I console log start. I start my 30-second counter at 30. I'm going to set an interval for every 1,000 milliseconds, every second. See here it goes negative. Every second, I'm going to have it subtract 1 and print the number of seconds. But after 5 seconds, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop that interval. Alright, so now we should see it print when I run this. Let's run it. Here's a start: 30, 29, 28. It should stop after 25. Or right before 25, excuse me. So here's the printed the 30, printed 29, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds passed, and now it says stop doing that interval, and it stops it. And so this demonstrates how you can use timeout and interval together to make a pretty neat, some pretty interesting functionality. Alright, I know I covered a lot in that video. Quick recap: set timeout, set interval, similar things. One of them runs something after a certain amount of time, the other one waits that same amount of time, but then also repeatedly does it. They return unique identifiers for you to reference them later, and you can then cancel them from running before they ever run in the case of timeout, or to stop them from continuously running in the case of interval using clear timeout and clear interval. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks for joining me on this one. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.